right, we can officially get started on our session. Thank you all for joining. My name is Sitima Fowler, and I'll be talking about quoting and proposal mistakes that you need to stop, and stop now. Okay, so let's say a client wants a proposal for a new project, or you get a call from a local company that wants a new MSP vendor. And then you run to and they want a proposal. They want you to send over the proposal right away. You get excited, you put the proposal together, you send it to them, and then you're praying and hoping that they got, like you don't hear from them. So you're like, did they get it? And then you leave a voicemail. And then you're like, okay, did they get the voicemail? Why aren't they calling me back? How many of you have been in that situation? Quoting and hoping. So why are we quoting and hoping? Why are we doing all that work to put that quote together, and then we're hoping that they'll pick us, that they'll call us back? It's because you're running to create the proposal, and you're showing how amazing your service is, and then you never hear back. Or you think, oh my God, the sales meeting went so good. Like, it was the best sales meeting, and then you get ghosted. They're not calling you back. Or if they do call you back, and you finally get a hold of them, they say, well, your price was too high. Or they say that your services are too comprehensive. They're more than what they're looking for. Or the prospect says, you know what, your proposals was great, but they're going to go with somebody else. So you keep lowering your prices, and they still pick somebody else. Or you got busy, and they needed a proposal today, and you didn't get around to it. Now they're angry. Your client is angry because they wanted a proposal, and you couldn't get one to them on time. So why is this happening to you? The stuff that I just mentioned, can you relate to those? Right? So why is this happening? Two reasons. You have failed to build trust, and you fail to follow a sales process. So let's break that down. I want you to build trust by actually slowing down and doing a proper discovery and diagnostics. So we have a MSP sales playbook here at TMT that I helped author, and it is 5 steps. You do the initial qualification to make sure the prospect is indeed qualified for your services. Then you do step 2, which is a discovery meeting, and that has some subparts. Then you do number 3, which is diagnostic, some kind of technical assessment to look under the hood. Then you do step 4, this is where you're presenting your proposal, this is where you're prescribing what they need, and you're closing. And then step 5 is the follow-up. And do you know what we find in our coaching sessions, what most MSPs do? They go right to that section I have highlighted in yellow, part 4, within the section 4, present your solution. All of you know what you do. All of you are so proud of your services. So you skip everything else. The minute the prospect says, I would like a proposal, you run to that step 4, which is at the very end, and then you're excited to present it, and then you don't hear back. This is what we're finding, the mistake that is happening over and over. So, how do you slow down and do a proper discovery meeting? And trust me, most of you are not doing a proper discovery meeting. Ray and I have a sales accountability coaching class that we do every week. And in there, people come in and they think they're the best salesperson in the world. And then we find out, hey, that the sales meeting that you told us last week went really well. What happened? They went silent. We hear that all the time, all the time. So let's talk about how to do a proper discovery meeting that builds trust. So first, this, by the way, all these steps apply to whether you're quoting a client on a upsell project, or you're putting together a proposal for managed services to a brand new logo. It doesn't matter. It works for both. Some of them, if it's already a client, you might skip over because you already know their business. So prepare for the meeting. When I say prepare for the meeting, You have to like spend some time figuring out, you know, a little bit about their business, a little bit about, you know, the industry they're in, build up your knowledge in what they do. Then step 2, get a general sense for how they use technology. This is in order. This is how you're going to build a trust. So when I say get a general sense for how they use technology, if they're a client of yours already, then you have this already kind of down. But you may want to summarize it for your client. For example, let's say your client is an accounting firm and you're trying to sell them on multi-factor authentication or something. Kind of identify them, like say, look, in your industry, these are the things you're facing. These are the security risks we see. These are the compliance. This is the compliance you're under. You're struggling with this. Kind of reframe everything you know about their business to test for understanding. You're also building credibility and trust. If they're a brand new prospect, brand new logo, you don't do business with them today, find out. Start with sales. Hey, how do you do sales? Are your salespeople all over? Are you using some kind of CRM like Salesforce? Is that on the server here, or is it in the cloud? Are you using the online version? And take them through. Same thing like invoicing. When it comes to invoicing your clients, how are you doing that? Basically, you're asking them how they run their business and how they're using technology to run their business. There's 2 things you're doing with this process. You're finding out what kind of technology is involved so that you know how to put together a proper proposal. But you're also building trust in the prospect's mind. Most MSP salespeople are going in and saying, oh, how many PCs do you have? How many servers do you have? How much data do you have? You're not going to do that. You're going to be a higher end consultant going in and asking business level questions that builds trust. Because remember, we don't want to quote and hope, right? So this is what this is all about. Then you want to find the pain. If there's no pain, the probability of getting that sale at the price you want to charge really diminishes. So you have to find the pain. You have to ask them, you know, what issues are you facing? And at first, they may say, oh, no, we're okay. Everything's fine. No, we haven't had any issues with security. So that's when you do a technique called wedge technique. So the wedge technique is where you're creating doubt and uncertainty where they may not say there is. So you say, oh, okay, so the last time you had a checklist of things you went through to make sure your employees' credentials are not being used everywhere and they're not appearing on the dark web, and then you gave the proper training to make sure that, you know, they're aware of the latest security issues and how to avoid them. How did that process go? And they may say, oh, we've never done that. But is that important to you? Or maybe you're not worried about your employees' credentials getting lost and them, you know, trying to log in with the same account they do with their Facebook account. Oh no, that is important. Oh, okay, well then let's put that down. We'll address it. So you want to use wedge questions to create certainty and doubt even when they're saying everything is fine. But let's say everything is not fine and they are telling you all the pain they're having. You want to dig into each of those pain, even though you know what it is, even though you know what the prescription is for that pain. If they say things like, you know, our IT company just doesn't get back to us quickly enough. You want to find out, well, what does that mean? What are you looking for? What impact does that have on your employees? Like, you want to keep digging and digging and digging till you've really kind of had the prospect feel the pain and be able to articulate the result of that pain. Okay, so that's the level of finding the pain that is necessary for this. Uncover the prospect's buying criteria. This is something that we find people are so afraid to ask, but you need to ask. So find out from them, how are they going to make this decision? If they're interviewing 3 other MSPs, how are they going to pick you over them? Have them talk this through. What is most important? Keep asking them what else, what else, what else, what else most important when they're making this decision. How soon are they looking to make this decision? How are they going to pick between the various vendors? Who else is involved in making this decision? What is their time frame? You want to ask all these questions. Uncover hidden objections. So you want to put your price out there. Give them an idea of what your price is. I love putting price out there frequently. Don't let it be during the proposal quoting time the first time they're seeing your price. You should put it out there and have that discussion as what they think about that. Ask them, your current IT provider, you've had them for 10 years. How is that going to be when you tell them you're moving on? What is that going to look like? The whole point is you're getting the prospect to think all this through out with you as the trusted advisor in the room. And so you don't want to get surprised later. And then number 6, summarize all of this. Summarize all the pain points they told you. You'd be surprised how many people are not listening. Meaning how many salespeople, MSP business owners, salespeople, account managers, they're not listening. Even though the prospect is telling you all this, they're not able to summarize them back. So make sure you're listening, you're able to summarize everything the prospect has told you, go through all the pain points they told you, go through their buying criteria they told you, go through the hidden objection that you just discussed, how they were going to handle it, go through the entire conversation with them, and then test for understanding. Look for more objections, and then do a trial close, which is, if I was to present to you a proposal that was in this price range that solved this issue, is this something you're looking to go forward with? Like, do some trial closes like that, so you're already prepping the whole process before you do a single hour's worth of work putting a proposal together. And then once this is done, you may want to transition to a technical assessment to look under the hood, to validate and find more things that could be technically wrong in their environment, and then you set up that proposal meeting. All this happens during a proper discovery and diagnostic meeting, okay? Any questions on this before I move on? Yes. Great question. So the question was, because I have to repeat it for the mic over there. So if you're going through your process, but the prospect says, can you just send a quote over? Okay? So as a salesperson, you have to kind of reframe it. You have to put it back into your process and under your control. So kind of think about why are they asking that? So that's the first thing I would ask the person is there a reason that you want the proposal like right away? Like what is prompting you? Like get that from the prospect's head as to what is the real motivation for asking what they're asking? Is it because they have to make a decision truly tomorrow? Or do they have a server down situation and they're in an emergency situation? Like find out what it is, and then if it's really not an emergency, then basically say, I've been doing this for, over 15 years, and I can tell you that this relationship has to be a good fit for both of us. So the process is to like understand what's happening in your situation and see if I can truly help. And if I can, I would be the first one to come up and tell you what the solution is and what my firm price is. So, and then move on with the conversation. So you have to bring it back under your control, but understand what the motivation is of why they're asking it for tomorrow. And often you'll find out it really isn't an emergency. So this is a checklist. It's called a post-discovery meeting checklist. This is what I used after every discovery meeting, whether it was for myself or a salesperson that I had hired. So sit in the car after every discovery meeting and go through this. The situation, the need, the motives. Do you know who they're currently supporting their IT? What is their motive for talking to you about replacing or augmenting? Are you able to articulate what their specific needs are? Do they know what they're trying to achieve? Do you know what success looks like? What are their biggest pain points? Can you articulate how they use technology to run their business? So that's the situation. The right fit. Can you actually solve their problem? Is the solution within your scope of expertise? Are they someone you want to do business with long term? So that's the right fit. Then the money question. Have you floated a price range? Do they have sufficient budget? Do they have willingness to spend what is necessary? So many people skip over that. And the only reason, good reason I know of is because you're scared. And that's head trash. Get that out of your head. If you are a true consultant, these are all the questions your prospect will thank you for asking. Competition, what other competitors are they talking to? And what are your strengths in winning that deal? And that is the reason why you want to find out who else you're competing against. Because you want to know, like, do you bring something unique in terms of that comparison? Decision-making process, when are they looking to make a decision? You don't want to find out after you propose to them that they weren't going to make a decision until 2024. You want to find that out now. Do you know who all the stakeholders are? Do the person you're talking to have the authority to make that decision? What is their buying criteria? Do you know what their concerns are? And then next step, did you set up a date? You always want to set up a date before you leave that meeting for the network assessment as well as the proposal meeting. And based on what you discovered, do you think you can send to the prospect and give you an advantage of winning the deal? So when I hired salespeople, these are all the questions. When they came back from the sales meeting, I would ask them. And often I found out in the beginning, a lot of these they didn't know answers to. They would tell me, oh, I don't know. I said, did you ask? And they would say no. So, but after a while, they know every time they come back to the office, you're going to go through the same checklist. And it's going to become muscle memory, and they're going to know to ask all these questions. And same goes for yourself. So now that you have all this information, how do you create a winning proposal? So winning proposal always starts with stating the prospect's business objectives. Do not start with how amazing your company is. Most of you start your proposals with, we're the best MSP in the world, we have the best security program, and we hire the best techs in my city. Most of you start that way, and I know because I've seen your proposals. So the prospect doesn't care. It's about them. You're here to help them. So you're going to tell them from our first meeting, these are the things I heard you say you're looking to do with your business. And then state the alternative strategies. If they decide to do nothing, what does it look like? If they decide to hire somebody internal, what does that look like? If they decide to hire a competitor or stay with the incumbent, what does that look like? So talk that through them. If they do one of these things, what is the pros and cons of doing that? Okay? The next thing is then present your solution. So this goes for clients and upsell quotes as well. Same thing. You're going to start with the business objectives. You're going to talk about the alternative strategies. If they don't implement your solution, what does it look like? Okay? So this applies to new MSP sales as well as current client upsells. Then the solution overview, you're going to describe how it aligns with their objectives. Now, your solution might do a ton of things, but don't vomit all of that at this point. Only address the parts of your solution that relates to their business objectives, okay? Connect those. Do not roll out full technical specs. Your proposal should focus not just on the solution, like capability, usability, reliability, but what it means to the customer. How does it generate a positive business return that makes their company stronger? Most of you, when you're like, say, quoting a technical project, like a server upgrade or cloud infrastructure, there's so much technical jargon. But if you cannot generate, like, how is it going to relate to them in terms of reliability, capability, usability, and how it gives them a positive business return, then you're not going to have a successful proposal. Include your schedule, include the deliverables, and acceptance criteria. Because now you're talking to the clients about their risk acceptance. You're talking about exactly what you're going to deliver, and when does the customer think it was successful. So you're going to paint those pictures. Then you state your price, then your unique solution, your qualification, what makes you uniquely qualified to do this for the client, and then company overview. So it's almost like upside down proposal is what you're going to be presenting, okay? So just a little bit about like what we did. So, we grew the company Capstone from 2003 to 2009, and we were selling only high margin hardware, low margin hardware, like hardly any margin, but we were selling a lot of it. So we were basically like getting on Inc. 5000 and all that. And then one of our biggest clients who bought a ton of hardware from us went out of business and everything dried up. And we just started to like plummet. So in 2009 is when we hired Robin and we upgraded to Producers Club. And that's when our mindset started to shift. And we implemented a marketing plan. We started selling managed services. And then we also started investing in tools that gave us the automation, gave us, how to document, documentation, backup, all the, RMM tools. We started investing in the company. And so then we saw another hockey stick growth at that point. And from 2009 to 2014, we saw a big growth. And then in 2014 to 2018, we also implemented EOS operating system, entrepreneur operating system called Traction. And then that brought us, how to run meetings, how to hire the right people, how to operate at a very efficient high level, how to solve problems. And then we saw the hockey stick growth there. And then in 2021, we merged and became Iconic IT. We became a $30 million company. And then last year, we sold. Now I'm a founder and partner of Integris IT, and now we're a $100 million MSP. So how did we do this? Every time I came to one of these events, I created a brand for myself. I became well known, not only in my industry, but in my own market. I started to when I walked into a sales meeting, people already knew who I was based on the brand that I was creating for myself. And then I applied for not just local, like Rochester Top 100 type awards, but also national awards, like Inc. 5000, Business Person of the Year. All those awards solidified in my prospects' mind that we're a legit company, we're a growth-oriented company, and same thing with our employees. Our employees felt like, wow, I'm so proud to work for them. So how did we grow our sales and profits? So most of you know what a P1 severity is in your technical world, right? When one of your clients' server is down, you don't wait. You don't say, oh, you know what? I don't have any texts. All my texts are busy today, so I can't respond to you, Mr. Customer. You figure out a way to pull everybody in, and you surround your client and get their environment up. You need to do the same thing with sales. If you didn't hit your sales targets for the week, if you didn't hit your upsell quantities with your current clients for the month, you need to huddle in a conference room and figure out how to fix it. So you got to start this is one of the biggest things we did, is we treated sales and the KPIs for sales in the same severity as on the technical P1 side, okay? And the second thing is become a high-end business consultant. Too many of you are like going into a sales meeting and just spitting out how amazing you are, how your security services are the best, most comprehensive. Stop selling, because the minute you start selling, the prospect puts up a wall. So stop selling, go in there to try to solve the client and the prospect's biggest problems. If you solve their biggest problem and refrain from selling, you will get the sale. And then everybody sells. If you have 10 techs in your company, you need to train every single help desk person, sysadmins, I don't care who they are. They need to sit through your sales training process. So first of all, you need to have a sales training as therefore. So instead of, if I ask you how many salespeople do you have, instead of you saying 0 or 1, you need to say 20. I have 30. Everybody in your company needs to know how to sell. You need to teach them through that training. So, do not sell. Be a true consultant. Prepare a winning proposal. And instead of quoting and hoping, you're going to propose and close. All right, well, thank you. Thank you for your attention. And And Ray and I do this every week where we're basically teaching salespeople on sales techniques, role playing. We're doing everything from telling people what the pipeline review. If you're interested, we're here for the next 3 days. We'd love to talk to you. There's my email. Happy to talk to all of you. Any questions? Yeah, I think all of this will be. Absolutely. Welcome. Thank you for attending. Have a good conference.